This video clip that I'm going to play is from TYT. Now, I'm not going to talk about TYT. I'm going to bring up some things that they are going to be explaining, which sounds completely asinine. Now, Cenk and Anna are going to explain to you guys in 1 minute and 31 seconds why the CIA doesn't do bad stuff anymore. Not ever. Not only the CIA, but any government institution. Because the government doesn't do bad things. So what hold on. What are you people complaining about? And before anyone types in the comment section below, what do you mean, you people? I mean, you people, the American people. Everyone across the political spectrum. That's right. Everybody, all 300 million plus million Americans. That's right. All you beautiful people. You people just need to calm the F down because the government doesn't do bad things anymore. There is no war in Bossing, say. So what you complaining about, libertarians, Greens, socialists, Democrats, Republicans? You people just need to relax. It doesn't do bad things anymore. And Cenk and Anna are going to explain it to you. Because, hey, folks, let's have democracy in the chat before we pull up the video. Type 1 for Kit. You're right. The government doesn't do bad things anymore. What am I complaining about? Inflation, endless wars, banks being bailed out, corrupt politicians. Everything's A-okay. I'm fine with the way things are. Type 2, Kit. If you don't stop effing around, I'm going to smack you in the mouth. The government does bad things. All right, play the video. I wonder how many twos we're going to get in the chat. I wonder indeed. So shout out to Chicago's very own Jimmy Dore. Holy shite. If you had a head injury, this might be the news show for you. Yikes. So let's go ahead and talk about this in a 3, 2, and uno.
There was a time in America where the State Department the Pentagon would orchestrate and carry out coups in, Latin American countries, for instance, or in Iran. Like there was a time when the government engaged in all sorts of unsavory schemes across the globe. That's definitely true.
But they don't do that anymore. Hey, the government wouldn't sit before the UN and say there are weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. Osama bin Laden's somewhere in Afghanistan. That's why we've got to stay there for like 21 years. Where you at, Osama? Across the border. What? I didn't hear anything. How could you go on air and say that? And let's just say this for a second, okay? Let's just say the government no longer does do bad things, okay? Does that excuse them for their previous behaviors? Does it excuse them for their previous actions? Does it excuse them for everything that they have done in the past? I mean, hell, no one knocked on the CIA's door and asked them to their contributions to the cartels and how they helped set that up. No one talks about that anymore. You know those cartels in Central and South America? El Chapo? All that other stuff? No one talks about the CIA and what they did. No one talks about it. No one talks about their influence in the war on drugs and what they did and how it helped contribute to the United States becoming not only a nation addicted, but also how Big Pharma got involved in it and the prison industrial complex. No one wants to talk about what the CIA did with that. But go ahead, hold on. We're going to rewind this again because apparently, guys, they just no longer do bad things anymore. It's all okay.
The State Department the Pentagon would orchestrate and carry out coups in, Latin American countries, for instance, or in Iran. Like there was a time when the government engaged in all sorts of unsavory schemes across the globe. That's definitely true, okay? That's not the government we have today. How does anyone look at honestly, I don't think the current federal government is even competent enough to carry out a coup. I mean, they tried multiple times in Venezuela and failed. And like the way, some of the MAGA Republicans, quite honestly, talk about the federal.
Oh, it's the MAGA Republicans because the Trump people, right? So it always comes back to Trumpers. Like, look. I mean, us progressives on the left, the homeless left now. I mean, hey, I think we all can universally agree the government's doing bad things. Like, let's talk about the sanctions and the coups. And let's say these coups did fail. I mean, it did cause political instability in a lot of South American and Central American countries, right? I mean, just because they failed doesn't mean they didn't do any long-term damages to said countries, be they the coups or the sanctions, right? But somehow our government's incompetent. No, they know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. And I just want to read this here in the comments section right here. William Gaza says, this woman sounds like she's defending an abusive boyfriend. Oh, he doesn't slap me in the mouth anymore. He doesn't cheat on me anymore. He doesn't yell at me in all day, every day. He hasn't stolen my car and get it crashed. He doesn't do that stuff anymore. He's changed. He's changed. He's just stupid now. Get the hell out of here. Get out of here. Okay? So that's what's up here. That's what's up. That's what's up. So let's go ahead and continue on.
Federal government makes me think, oh my God, they're asleep at the wheel. They don't understand just how incompetent the federal government is. They can't get anything straight. They can't get anything straight. And you guys think that they're wiretapping you and they're scheming and they're planning on throwing Tucker Carlson in prison for talking to Vladimir Putin? Really?
Yeah.
Come on.
I mean, look, man, I interviewed the CIA agent a long time ago, about now nearly 10 years ago. It was a really amazing interview. She told me about honeypot schemes and stuff and how they trick their targets into thinking that they're going to get a sexual relationship. Like, it was an amazing, very candid interview. And she's like, look, this whole thing, and that deep state stuff on the right wing hadn't started yet. She's like, the number one problem with the CIA is they've become bureaucrats. And
oh, they become bureaucrats. So, they don't do that stuff anymore, folks. How convenient. How lovely, how beautiful. But let's talk about the government. Let's talk about the CIA and all these wonderful institutions and our politicians. Let's talk about them for a second, shall we? First, let's talk about our politicians, our senators, the president. Look, top U.S. senator tells Ukraine to draft younger soldiers. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Who's saying it? Lindsey Graham Cracker has said he cannot believe Kiev is allowing its youth to stay in the rear. Wow, how compassionate of you, U.S. Senator. Send young boys, young children to fight in the front line, child soldiers, giving the whole new meaning to the phrase infantry, right? All right, kid, you might be 10 years old, but here's an AK-47. Now go ahead to the front line and don't you cower out or the commissar will shoot you. U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham Cracker has urged the Ukrainian parliament to pass a highly controversial mobilization bill that would lower the minimum conscription age from 27 to 25. Oh, okay, good. Well, it hasn't gone to the younger ages then. Okay, but watch. Hey, doesn't care. Priest, watch. They're going to be like, how old are you? I'm 18. You're 25. To compensate for battlefield losses. So many people have died for no reason. At the same time, he advocated a scheme in which the U.S. would provide Ukraine with loans instead of non-repayable aid. Nobody cares anymore. Kiev announced a general mobilization in February of 2022, shortly after the start of the conflict, with men between 27 and 60 eligible to be called up. Although those over the age of 18 could also volunteer. In December, Ukraine officials proposed a bill expanding the draft bracket, which reported plans to send as many as 500,000 fresh soldiers to the front line. Donald Trump, and the off chance you see this, when you said that at that CNN town hall, I want people to stop dying. I don't want to see 500,000 people on either side die. I want people to stop dying. But Anna and Cenk said the government doesn't do bad things or encourage bad things. You got an old-ass politician telling another government to send its young people to die. But it's okay. The government doesn't do bad things anymore. They're just incompetent, right? Here's another one. Biden knew Israel was bombing indiscriminately, says the Washington Post. Oh, okay, so Biden knew. And he didn't lift a finger. The White House knew since late October. Ha! Hey, October. Great. That Israel is regularly bombing civilian targets in Gaza, but President Joe Biden continued to publicly defend the Israeli military's conduct, the Washington Post reported on Monday. On October 27th, 3 weeks into Israel's war with Hamas, Biden's top foreign policy officials told a small group at the White House that Israel is regularly bombing buildings without solid intelligence that they were legitimate military targets. Because, hey, who needs intelligence and verifications? You just got to trust your sources, right? You don't need to verify or get any kind of fact checking. Who does that? Who does that anymore? Continuing on, the officials also expressed concern that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had no clear plan for defeating the Palestinian militant group, with one source telling the Post that from the very beginning, there's been a sense of us not knowing how the Israelis were going to do what they said they were going to do. That means more people are going to die. At the same time, the U.S. was rushing military aid to Israel. 2 weeks before the meeting, Biden visited a Jewish state, publicly declared that as long as the United States stands, Israel will not be alone. Say it with me, folks. What could possibly go wrong? On the same day as the meeting, White House National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby told reporters that the U.S. would not impose any red lines on how Israel conducted its military campaign. But according to Cenk and Anna Banana, government doesn't do bad things anymore. Okay? So stop asking questions. Stop asking questions, people. All of you across the political spectrum. You're complaining about nothing. Nothing. The meeting did little change the rhetoric of Biden or his officials. The president didn't criticize Israel over the repeated bombing of a refugee camp in early November or any other refugee camp, hospital, community center, residential area. You know. Likewise, the White House publicly backed Israel's decision to bomb Gaza's largest hospital later that month, with Kirby telling reporters that Hamas had hidden a command center beneath the facility. A huge underground facility. Woo! Look at this. At every juncture, Netanyahu has given Biden the finger. The middle finger like this. Woo! And the Biden administration pleading with Netanyahu coalition, but getting slapped in the face over and over again. Look at that. But hang on, folks. Let's give it up for the cuck of all cucks, Bernie, the nutless wonder Sanders. Bernie Sanders' U.S. must fundamentally rethink its foreign policy. Bernie, didn't you get the memo from Cenk and Anna? The government doesn't do bad things anymore. United States Senator Bernie Sanders on Monday called for a, get this, I hope you're sitting down for this one. Get ready to be shocked in 3, 2, 1. A revolution in American foreign policy. Oh, go fuck yourself, Bernie. That replaces greed, militarism, and hypocrisy with solidarity, diplomacy, and human rights. Woo! Oh, man. Okay, Bernie. Hey, Bernie, don't you ever change, okay? Don't you ever change, you hypocritical cuck. In a lengthy piece published in Foreign Affairs, Senator Sanders, independent, asserted that it's long past time to fundamentally screw that up, American foreign policy, a shift that starts with acknowledging the failures of the post-World War II bipartisan consensus and charting a new vision that centers human rights, multilateralism, and global solidarity. If the goal of foreign policy is to help create a peaceful, prosperous world, go fuck yourself. A foreign policy establishment needs to fundamentally rethink its assumptions. The Democratic Socialist senator wrote. Democrat Socialist. Spending trillions of dollars on endless wars and defense contracts is not going to address the existential threat of climate change or the likelihood of future pandemics. It is not going to feed hungry children, reduce hatred, educate the illiterate, or cure diseases. It is not going to help create a shattered global community and diminish the likelihood of war. So are you going to call what's happening in Gaza genocide? Bernie? Hello? Hello, Bernie? Are you going to call what's happening in Gaza genocide? No, probably not. I regret any kind word I ever said about Senator Bernie Sanders. Seriously, I have to live with that L. That's why, you know what? I mean, if I'm ever saying, hey, debate me about politics, I'll be like, I'm politically homeless. I got no one to go to bat for. I'm homeless. I'm politically homeless. In this pivotal moment in human history, the United States must lead a new global movement based on human solidarity and the needs for struggling people. So, Bernie, are you going to call for a diplomatic ceasefire in Ukraine and Russia because they're sending more young people to die in that frontline war? Are you going to call for the end of what Israel's doing in Gaza, Bernie? Because Cenk and Anna right now are saying that the government doesn't do bad things, but you're saying that there's this endless amount of money going to these forever future wars and these other devastating conflicts. I mean, are you going to say what's happening in Gaza is a genocide? You want to call for a ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine? I mean, that'd be a way to do it, unless you're just talking out of your wazoo. This movement, again, a bowel movement, must have the courage to take on greed, which you don't have, of the international oligarchy, in which a few thousand billionaires exercise enormous economic and political power. Well, we already saw how you stand up to them, Bernie. You're a nutless wonder. You have no backbone, no spine. If you're not going to call what they did to you in 2016 and 2020, get the hell out of here. Sanders' article examines U.S. foreign policy since World War II, underscoring commonalities between the many wars and the acts of aggression perpetrated by Washington over the decades. So I could read more about Bernie and how this nutless wonder is telling us, oh, we got to be afraid. We got to have a revolution. Here, you want to know more? Here, check out the Gray Zone. They've done some groundbreaking work. See? Outstanding journalists like Max Blumenthal and Aaron Mate. I know that'll probably trigger TYT. But look, here, apparently, I got a knock on the door of the Gray Zone. Max, Aaron, wrap it up. It's over. Cenk and Anna said the government doesn't do bad things. So I don't know why you got these articles up here showing Assange's brother, Julian, could receive the death penalty if extradited. Goodness gracious. Secret cable. CIA orchestrated Haiti's 2004 coup. What? But according to Anna, Banana, and Fat Tony, the CIA doesn't do it. They're bureaucrats now. They can't do shite. What's going on here? And whoa. Hold on. State Department downplays reports of Israel soldiers abusing, gotta be careful because of YouTube, slaughtering Palestinian women. Oh my God. What's going on here? Look at this. No. Guys at the Gray Zone, wrap it up. Wrap it up. It's over. Because when you see articles like this, and we could go into details covering all these articles that the crew at the Gray Zone does, and I encourage everyone to check them out and support their work because they have done phenomenal work. They're shining a light on political corruption, abuse of power. But according to this guy and his co-host, brace yourself, folks, the government doesn't do bad things.
There was a time in America where the State Department the Pentagon would orchestrate and carry out coups in, Latin American countries, for instance, or in Iran. Like there was a time when the government engaged in all sorts of unsavory schemes across the globe. That's definitely true, okay? That's not the government we have today. How does anyone look at honestly?
So after all the articles I read, after all the sources I showed you, what are your thoughts? Let's have democracy in the chat. Type 3, Kit, you awful, awful man. Anna knows what she's saying. The government doesn't do bad things. What's wrong with you? You awful, horrible man. A type 4, no. We know the government's doing bad things. I don't know what the hell they were smoking and or drinking when they did this video for TYT. But the government does do bad things. And even if they stopped, it doesn't excuse their previous behaviors because, after all, actions do have consequences. We're still dealing with the fallout of many of the policies and interventions that our government has done to other nations. Want to know why we have a migrant crisis? It's because of the decades-long involvement of coups, sanctions, regime change wars in Central and South America, which led to the rise of, again, so many tyrants, civil wars, cartels. I wonder how many fours we're getting in the chat. I wonder. That was a perfect way to pause, Anna, because Anna's just saying, I can't believe I'm saying this.
I don't think the current federal government is even competent enough to carry out a coup. I mean, they tried multiple times in Venezuela and failed. And the way, Some of the MAGA Republicans, quite honestly, talk about the federal government. Makes me think, oh my God, they're asleep at the wheel. They don't understand just how incompetent the federal government is. They can't get anything straight. They can't get anything straight. And you guys think that they're wiretapping you and they're scheming and they're planning on.
But they are. They are watching us. Edward, the guy who snowed in somewhere, told us about what the NSA is doing. You've had a lot of whistleblowers reveal that. We've had a lot of people tell us that we're being spied in on. Hi, Bob. Hi, Billy. Those are my FBI handlers.
Throwing Tucker Carlson in prison for talking to Vladimir Putin? Really?
Yeah.
Come on.
I mean, look, man, I interviewed the CIA agent a long time ago, but now
Cenk, I remember you kind of had a meltdown when you were talking to Brianna Joy Gray saying, I'm not with the CIA. Jimmy's wrong. I don't know, Cenk. You sound a little sus to me. You sound like an op.
nearly 10 years ago. It was a really amazing interview. She told me about honeypot schemes and stuff and how they trick their targets into thinking that they're going to get a sexual relationship. Like, it was an amazing, very candid interview. And she's like, look, with this whole thing, and that deep state stuff on the right wing hadn't started yet. She's like, the number one problem with the CIA is they've become bureaucrats. And
they've all become bureaucrats, even though you have Lindsey Graham Cracker saying, hey, draft younger soldiers. You have our president who knew that Israel's bombing indiscriminately. You have this nutless wonder, Bernie Sanders. Don't worry. Bernie says U.S. must fundamentally rethink its foreign policy. And then, of course, you have the gray zone. Julian could receive the death penalty if extradited. That's the end for free speech. According to TYT, he's a bad guy. Secret cable, CIA orchestrated Haiti's 2004 coup. Don't forget that coup that happened in Ukraine in 2014. And the State Department downplays Israeli soldiers assaulting Palestinian women. But according to TYT, government's too stupid. What are you people complaining about? So what can we take away from this? What can we learn from all of this? What is the biggest takeaway from this? And that is, when you have people saying, don't worry about your government, stop asking questions, start asking questions, start questioning everything. We have seen firsthand how corrupt our politicians are. I don't care where you stand across the political spectrum. I don't care if you like hard lens media. I don't care if you hate hard lens media. Do me a favor. Check out Unusual Whales on Twitter. Go ahead. Go to that profile. And you'll find out that our politicians have not only been doing insider trading, but they've been getting money from lobby groups, banks, corporations, Wall Street executives. Go ahead. Check it out, and you'll find out how corrupt it is. These people are bought and paid for. Not only are they implementing disastrous foreign policies that will haunt future American generations for countless years, but they don't give a damn about us domestically. They're spying in on us. They're taking away our rights every single day. And you're not worried about it. When you have people of a large platform saying our government's too stupid and they don't do bad things anymore, that they're all bureaucrats, I don't believe you for 1 second. When I say keep your heads on a swivel and be aware of your surroundings and question everything, I mean it. And look, when it comes down to hard lens media, I expect everybody in my viewing audience to not only hear what I'm trying to say here, but look at other perspectives and points of view and come to your own conclusion. I ask all of you to do your own research as well, to come up with your own conclusions so that you are more well informed. And there's one thing we can universally agree on. I don't care where you stand politically, what generation you're part of, who you worship. Our government is fundamentally corrupt.